What if the one thing holding you back from living the life you want isn't talent, time, or luck, but discipline? Discipline is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Imagine waking up each morning with the strength to push past distractions and doubts, to focus on what really matters, and to finish what you start. How different would your life look if you took control of your daily habits and decisions? This video will show you simple, powerful ways to bring discipline into your everyday routine. Ways that anyone can do, starting now. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated by your own lack of follow-through, this is for you. Stick around, and by the end, you'll have a clear path to take charge of your life and start building the future you deserve. Let's get to work. Number 1, wake up early every day without hitting snooze. You've been given a life, not a perfect one, not always a fair one, but it's yours, and what you do with it starts the moment you decide to wake up with purpose. That moment begins when you open your eyes and refuse to hit the snooze button. That one small choice says everything about the kind of person you're becoming. Because discipline starts before the sun even rises. Most people don't understand what's really happening when they keep hitting that snooze. It's not just about sleep. It's not about being tired. It's about the first promise you break to yourself every single day. You told yourself last night you'd get up early. You set the alarm with good intentions. But then the alarm rings and you betray that promise. That's not just a habit. That's training your mind to accept failure before the day even begins. If you ever want to believe you can do anything, you need to believe that your word means something, especially to yourself. You've got to prove to your mind over and over again that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. No excuses, no second guesses, just action. That's how belief is built. Not through hype or inspiration, through repetition, through behavior, through commitment. The people who rise early aren't special. They don't have magical genetics. They've just decided that what they want matters more than how they feel. It's not comfortable, but it's powerful. And if you want to start building belief in yourself, wake up early. That's where it begins. Not for your boss, not for your job, not because someone told you to, but because you told yourself you would. And it's time you started taking that seriously. You see, discipline is not just about routines. It's about self-respect, and self-respect shows up in the smallest moments. Waking up early is one of them. It's you telling the world, and more importantly, telling yourself that you are in charge, that your life is not going to be dictated by moods, feelings, or laziness, that you have goals, and you're willing to suffer a little discomfort to get there. Now here's the part no one likes to hear. If you're not willing to win the first battle of the day, don't expect to win anything bigger, because every day is a war between what you want now and what you want most. And when that alarm clock rings, you've already got your first battle. Are you going to lie there and feed the weaker version of you? Or are you going to stand up, get your feet on the floor, and build the stronger version? The one who believes, the one who acts, the one who... I'm not here to tell you this is easy. I'm here to tell you it's necessary. You want confidence? Earn it. You want belief? Build it. No one is going to give you the feeling that you're capable. That comes from doing the things you don't feel like doing, especially when no one's watching. Do you know how you start believing in yourself? You stop looking for motivation. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You start doing hard things every day, especially when you don't want to. That's where belief lives. That's where confidence is born. Do you think confidence comes from being cheered on? No. Confidence comes from doing what you said you would, over and over and over again. That's why waking up early matters. Because it's proof. It's daily proof that you are not soft, that you are not weak, that you can make a decision, and you can follow through. And that proof becomes your identity. Suddenly, you're not just the person trying to change. You are the person who changes. You're no longer someone who hopes for more. You become someone who works for more. You want to believe you can do anything. Then you've got to start by doing the hard things that no one applauds you for. Because if you can't do the small things with strength, how will you ever handle the big ones? It's in the early hours that you set the tone for everything else. You get to be ahead while the world sleeps. You get to put your mind in the right place before the noise of the day begins. You get to decide what kind of life you're building, and you get a head start doing it. That matters more than you think. And the truth is, your brain remembers. It remembers what you do when no one's watching. It remembers if you honor your commitments or if you fold. It remembers if you hit snooze or if you rise. And over time, that memory becomes your belief system. So if you want to shift what you believe about yourself, start shifting what you do with yourself, starting with that alarm. And don't think you need to overhaul your life in one day. Start with this one act. Wake up early, every single day, even if it's hard. Even if you went to bed late, even if your mind tells you that you can skip, don't skip. Don't give in. Because one day you'll look back and realize that every win, every change, every ounce of confidence, it all began the day you stopped breaking promises to yourself. If you've been telling yourself that you're lazy, that you can't change, that you're not good enough, prove that voice wrong, and do it by doing the thing you've avoided. Get up early. Don't hesitate. Don't delay. Don't excuse it. Get up and move. That motion alone will wake something up inside of you that's been buried. The part of you that's strong. The part that knows what you're capable of. The part that believes. And don't make this about perfection. You'll slip. You'll miss a day. You'll make mistakes. That doesn't mean you quit. That means you keep going. Because belief is not built in one day. It's built every day. In your actions. In your choices. In your decisions. You want a better life? Wake up early and earn it. Every morning is a chance to become someone new. Take that chance and take it serious. There's a version of you waiting. A version that doesn't need to be convinced that anything is possible. Because they know, and the only thing standing between you and that version is your next decision, your next moment, your next alarm clock. Make that moment count. Don't wait to believe you can do anything. Show yourself, prove it. Rise up before the sun and start living like the person who doesn't just talk about change but becomes it. Because you stop hitting snooze on your alarm. You stop hitting snooze on your life, and that's where everything begins. Number 2, plan tomorrow's tasks before you go to bed. Most people wake up tired, confused, and already behind. Not because life is too hard, but because they didn't prepare for it the night before. The truth is, your tomorrow doesn't begin when the sun rises. It begins when your head hits the pillow tonight. If you don't take control of your next day before it begins, it will control you. That's the silent trap most people fall into. They keep reacting to life instead of creating it. If you want to build real belief in yourself, real power, and real momentum, you need to become the kind of person who plans ahead. Not the kind of person who wakes up and then figures out what matters. Not the kind of person who leaves it to chance, but the kind of person who goes to bed with a map in hand, with clarity in the mind and direction in the heart. That's what separates those who achieve from those who merely exist. Your brain isn't designed to store chaos. It needs clarity. It needs order. If your mind is cluttered with 100 things when you wake up, your day is already lost. That's why planning your next day before bed isn't just about productivity. It's about peace. It's about confidence. It's about giving your mind a break. Because it knows exactly what to do when you wake up. Think about how many times you've gone to bed worrying. Not big things, just that quiet mental noise. What am I supposed to do tomorrow? What's due? Where do I even start? That noise doesn't let you rest. And if your mind doesn't rest, your body doesn't rest. And when neither of them rest, you wake up heavy, drained, unmotivated. That's not laziness. That's mental overload. And the cure is simple. When you take 5 or 10 minutes before bed to sit with a pen and paper, or your phone if that's what you use, and you write down what tomorrow looks like, something shifts. The pressure drops. You breathe easier. You start feeling in control again. And control, even in small doses, builds confidence. That's how you start training your mind to believe that you're capable. Not with empty affirmations, but with action, with systems, with strategy. You want to build a better life, start mastering your time. And the best time to do that is the end of your day. When everything's quiet, when the phone stops buzzing, when the world slows down. That's when the winners are setting up their next victory. That's when they're asking the important questions. What's my most important task? What absolutely needs to get done? What's going to move me forward tomorrow? You don't need a long list. That's another trap. Most people think productivity is about writing down 20 things and checking off. But success comes from knowing what the right 3 things are and making sure those get done no matter what. If you plan with purpose, you don't need volume. You need precision. And when you wake up and you've already written your plan, You save your energy. You don't waste time wondering what to do next. You don't start the day in reaction mode. You already know what matters. You already know where to focus. That's where power comes from. Being clear before you even begin. You can't live with purpose if you don't move with direction. And direction doesn't fall out of the sky. You create it intentionally, consistently, every night. And what starts as a small habit becomes a powerful force. It begins to shape how you think, how you act, how you see yourself. You stop feeling like life is happening to you, and you start feeling like you're leading your life. That's where real belief is born. The best part is, it's not complicated. You don't need a fancy planner. You don't need 10 apps. You don't need anyone's permission. You just need a few minutes and the willingness to take responsibility for tomorrow before it even arrives. You don't leave your dreams to luck. You don't leave your goals to chance. You put them on paper and you build your day around them. You see, one of the biggest reasons people don't follow through on their goals is because they don't prepare for the obstacles. They don't anticipate what's going to get in their way. But when you plan the night before, you're not just listing tasks. You're mentally rehearsing success. You're running through your game plan. You're seeing the roadblocks and preparing how to push through. That kind of preparation gives you power in the moment. When you wake up and know your plan, you don't waste your willpower. You use it where it counts. Your energy is focused, not scattered. And every time you follow through on a plan you created, your mind starts believing a new story about you. One that says, you're serious. One that says, you're capable. One that says, you follow through. It's not about being perfect. It's not about getting every task done. It's about being intentional, being clear, being prepared. And if you do this long enough, it becomes part of who you are. You don't just have discipline, you are disciplined. You don't just try to succeed, you expect it. Because your behavior matches your belief. Ask yourself, how would your life change if you ended every day with direction? What would happen if, instead of going to bed, anxious and scattered, you closed your eyes, knowing exactly what tomorrow looked like? How much more calm would you feel? How much more focused? How much more in control? Success isn't about how much you can do in one day. It's about what you consistently do every day. And this small habit, planning before bed, creates momentum that compounds. You start sleeping better. You start waking up with confidence. You stop wasting time. You stop feeling behind. And all of that builds belief. Real belief. The kind that doesn't fade when life gets hard. And it will get hard. Life will test you. Things will go wrong. But when you have a plan, you don't panic. You adapt. You adjust. You get back on track faster. Because you always know what matters. That's the difference between drifting and driving. You're in the driver's seat now. You don't need motivation to change your life. Use structure. You need clarity. And the best time to create that is the end of your day. When everything is quiet and you're alone with your future. Right? Map it. Own it. That's how change begins. Not in the morning, not with a big speech, but with a simple moment of honesty the night before. If you're tired of being overwhelmed, if you're done with wasting days, if you're ready to take control, start taming your days before they happen. Not tomorrow. Start tonight. Don't just hope tomorrow will be better. Build it on paper, with intention, with strategy, with vision. Because the person who goes to bed with a plan wakes up with power. And when you wake up with power, there's nothing you can't do. Number 3, remove one bad habit that wastes your time. You are losing hours of your life every single day. And most of the time you don't even realize it. Not because you don't have ambition. Not because you don't have talent. But because one silent, stubborn habit is stealing your time, your energy, and your future. And until you face it head on, nothing will change. You want to believe in yourself? You want to do something great? Then you've got to stop pretending like your time isn't being wasted. Every day you carry around a habit that's holding you back. And you know exactly what it is. It might be scrolling for hours through social media. It might be binge watching shows until midnight. It might be checking your phone every 5 minutes when you're supposed to be working. It could be something small, something that doesn't even look dangerous on the surface. But if it's stealing your time, if it's draining your energy, it's killing your potential. Most people will never change, not because they don't want to, but because they lie to themselves. They tell themselves, it's not that bad. They convince themselves they can get serious later. They say things like, I just need to relax, or I'll start tomorrow. And those excuses sound harmless. until 10 years pass and nothing has changed. That's how time works. It disappears when you're not paying attention. And bad habits thrive when you stop noticing them. If you want to take your life to the next level, you don't need to add more. You need to remove what doesn't belong. That one habit that wastes your time, it doesn't just waste minutes. It wastes belief. Every time you give in to it, you train your brain to tolerate less from yourself. You start accepting low standards. You stop aiming higher. And before you know it, you're surviving instead of building. Think about the feeling you get after wasting hours on something meaningless. That empty, restless, guilty feeling. That's not random. That's your potential trying to wake you up. That's your better self tapping on the inside of your mind, asking, why are we still doing this? But most people ignore that feeling. They distract themselves again to avoid the truth. They get stuck in a loop of wasting time and feeling bad, then wasting more time to escape that feeling. You want to break free? Start with one habit, not 10, just one. Identify it, name it, stare it in the face, and admit what it's doing to you. Don't sugarcoat it. Be brutally honest. Say it out loud if you have to, because clarity is the beginning of change. Now here's the truth. That habit probably gives you comfort. That's why it's still in your life. It's easy. It's predictable. It helps you escape. But here's the part no one wants to admit. Comfort is costing you everything. The time you waste now is time you can never get back. And if you don't remove what doesn't serve you, you'll never make room for what does. You don't rise by stacking good habits on top of bad ones. You rise by subtracting what's pulling you down. One behavior, one decision, one pattern. That's all it takes to start a shift. Because once you remove one bad habit, you gain something priceless. Time. Not just physical time on the clock, but mental space, energy, focus. You start feeling alive again. And with that energy, you can start building something better. People often say they don't have time to chase their goals. But that's never true. What they don't have is control over their time. And the reason is simple. They haven't learned to say no. Not to people, not to work, but to themselves. The hardest no you'll ever say is the one you whisper when no one's watching. The one that tells your brain, we don't do that anymore. That's the real turning point. Not motivation, not a big life event, but that quiet moment when you interrupt the cycle and choose differently. It's going to be uncomfortable. That's part of the process. That's what growth feels like. You're not just removing a habit. You're removing a crutch, something you've leaned on for years. And when you take it away, your mind is going to resist. It's going to scream for comfort. It's going to tell you that you're bored, that you're tired, that you need it. But that voice isn't telling you the truth. It's just echoing the past. You don't have to obey it anymore, because there's another voice inside you, a stronger one, a quieter one, the one that's been waiting for a chance to lead, the one that says we can do more, the one that still believes. And every time you resist that habit, that voice gets louder. That voice starts to win. That's how transformation begins. Not by force, not by hype, but by choosing the stronger voice over the weaker one decision at a time. And here's the thing. Removing one bad habit doesn't just change your time. It changes your identity. You start to see yourself differently. You start to trust yourself more. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You become the kind of person who does what they said they would do, and belief grows from that. Real belief, the kind that changes everything. You'll start to notice more. You'll notice how many people live stuck in distraction. You'll see how much time is wasted all around you, and you'll be grateful you woke up. Because once you break free from one bad habit, it gets easier to break another and another. And soon, the gap between who you were and who you're becoming gets wider. That's how growth feels. That's what progress looks like. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more information. You need to take one habit that's robbing you and rip it out of your life. Whether it's endless scrolling, negative self-talk, procrastination, overthinking, or wasting hours numbing yourself with entertainment, cut it off. And if you can't cut it off completely, limit it. Put it in a box. Give it boundaries. But don't pretend it's harmless anymore, because this is your life. These are your years, and they're moving fast. Don't let one lazy pattern steal the next decade from you. The people who get ahead aren't the ones with more talent or luck. They're the ones who stop wasting time. They're the ones who face the hard truth. They're the ones who trade comfort for freedom. And you can do that right now. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Right now, pick one habit that you know is draining your life. Commit to removing it for the next 7 days. Track how you feel. Track what changes. Watch how much more alive and in control you become. Then ask yourself, what else am I tolerating that's holding me back? This isn't just about belief. It's about action. Belief follows behavior. Confidence follows commitment. And everything you want begins when you remove what doesn't belong. Start with one habit. Start now. Take your time back. Take your mind back. And take your future seriously. This is your wake-up call. Answer it. Number 4, follow a fixed daily routine without skipping steps. You are never going to feel powerful or in control until you build a life you can actually depend on. A life that doesn't fall apart every time things get hard. And the only way to create that kind of life is to follow a fixed routine every single day, without skipping steps, without picking and choosing when it's convenient, and without making excuses when life gets messy. The truth is, most people don't fail because they're not talented or smart. They fail because they're inconsistent. They wake up every day and try to make 100 decisions, hoping they'll land in the right direction. But without a system, without a structure, without a personal code to live by, everything falls apart. The moment pressure shows up, chaos creeps in, confusion wins, and they end up chasing motivation instead of building discipline. Let me tell you something real. You are always being trained by your own behavior. Every skipped step, every shortcut, every "I'll do it later" becomes a silent message to your brain that your goals don't really matter, that your time is negotiable, that your identity is shaky. And slowly, without noticing, you become someone you don't trust. You say you want results, but your actions tell a different story. Following a routine isn't about being robotic. It's not about making life boring. It's about becoming someone who can count on themselves. Because when life gets tough, and it will, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And if those habits are shaky, so is your future. You think the high performers, the disciplined, the focused people are lucky. No, they're prepared. They don't leave their mornings to chance. They don't drift through their day. They don't negotiate with their emotions. They wake up, they follow their plan, and they execute every day. Not when they feel like it. Not when things are easy, every single day. Because they understand that excellence isn't found in intensity. It's built through consistency. And that's where most people get it wrong. They try to overhaul their life in one weekend. They get hyped up and decide to change everything at once. They make a big plan. They get excited. And then they burn out by Wednesday. Why? Because they skipped steps. Because they ignored the boring, unsexy truth. Greatness lives in the repeatable, in the things no one claps for, in the routines no one sees. You want to believe you can do anything? Start by proving you can do something daily. You can't build confidence if you're always resetting. You can't trust yourself if your progress depends on how you feel. That's why a routine matters. It's not just a schedule. It's a system for living on purpose. It's a set of instructions that keeps you steady when everything around you wants to pull you off course. And I get it. Life gets busy. Things happen. But that's exactly why you need a routine. You don't build routines for the easy days. You build them for the hard ones, for the days you feel tired, for the days you're overwhelmed, for the days life throws the unexpected at you. That's when your routine becomes your anchor. That's when it saves you from sliding back into the habits you swore you left behind. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be consistent. Wake up at the same time. Move your body. Eat with intention. Block time for deep work. Cut out the noise. Reflect before you sleep. And don't skip. Don't leave out steps because you think you can get away with it. You're not just checking boxes. You're carving identity. Every action is a vote for the person you're becoming. And here's the part nobody likes to hear. You're either training yourself to follow through, or you're training yourself to flake. There is no in between. So if you want to stop feeling lost, scattered, and stuck, start following a fixed routine. Not for productivity's sake, for your own sake. So you can look in the mirror and know you're building something like, this is not about perfection. You will mess up. You'll miss a day. You'll feel the urge to cut corners. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you recommit. You reset. You return to the plan. Not when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. That's how you build strength, not by never falling, but by always getting back up. And don't fall for the lie that structure kills freedom. The truth is, structure creates freedom. When your life runs on intention, you don't waste energy deciding what to do next. You don't burn time battling distractions. You don't lose hours to uncertainty. You gain time. You gain clarity. you gain peace of mind. Because your mind is no longer a battlefield. It's a command center. The most powerful people you know didn't just hope to get their life together. They planned it, and they executed that plan relentlessly. While others hit snooze, they're already ahead. While others waste time, they're moving with purpose. And the difference? It's not that they're better than you. It's that they made a decision you haven't made yet. To show up regardless of circumstances. If you want to transform your life, build a routine that reflects the future you want. Then stick to it with everything you've got. Every time you follow through, you gain momentum. Every time you stay on track, you build belief. And belief is the secret weapon. Because once you start trusting yourself, you become unstoppable. You no longer need motivation. You don't chase discipline. You become it. Look, no one's coming to do it for you. No one's going to sit next to your bed and tell you to get moving. No one's going to hold your hand and remind you to stay consistent. It's on you. And that's not a burden. That's power. That means you're in control. That means the outcome is in your hand. And if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of feeling average, tired of not living up to your potential, fix your routine. It's the simplest change with the highest return. 1 hour of planning, 1 list of actions, 1 disciplined day. Then repeat, and repeat again. That's how success is built. Quietly, privately, on the days you don't feel like it. Because belief isn't something you find. It's something you earn. And the routine is how you earn it. So stop skipping steps. Stop treating your goals like a hobby. Stop building your life on convenience. Show up, do the work, follow the plan, and keep going when it's not fun. Keep going when no one notices. Keep going when it feels slow. Because on the other side of that routine is everything you say you want. You want to believe you can do anything? Then become the kind of person who doesn't break their own system. Become someone so consistent, so committed, that even your worst day looks better than most people's best. That's what a fixed routine can do. That's what discipline builds. And that's how you become the version of you that doesn't just dream, but delivers every single day. Number 5, track your progress. Every night with brutal honesty. You can't change your life if you refuse to face the truth about how you're living it. Every night, there is a moment where you have to decide who you really are. It's not during the applause. It's not when you're around others. It's when you're alone. The day is over, and it's just you, staring at the results of your choices. That moment is where transformation begins. Because what you choose to see, what you choose to admit, and what you choose to avoid in that moment will either move you forward or keep you stuck. Most people never become who they were meant to be. Not because they aren't capable, but because they lie to themselves. They hide behind distractions. They convince themselves they had a pretty good day. They don't look too closely at their progress because they know they didn't give their best. And if they did look, really looked, they'd have to admit the truth. They're wasting time. They're avoiding the hard things. They're not really moving. They're just busy. But the person who builds belief in themselves is the one who stops running from that truth. You want to grow? Then you have to become brutally honest with yourself. Every single night. Before you sleep. Before you shut down the day. Before you scroll. You stop and face yourself. Not with judgment. Not with shame, but with clarity. You ask the hard questions. Did I do what I said I'd do? Did I live the way I expect from myself? Did I use my time the way my goals demand? This is not about perfection. This is about alignment. Because if your actions don't line up with your vision, you're not going anywhere. And that's the trap. So many people say they want more, but their behavior says something else. They're ambitious when it's convenient. They're consistent until it gets uncomfortable. They're disciplined until emotions take over. And then they look up months later, wondering why nothing's changed. It's because they never tracked their progress. They never held themselves accountable. They just hoped for the best. Hope is not a strategy. You've got goals. You've got dreams. You say you want to change. But how are you measuring it? How are you checking in? How are you making sure you're on track and not just drifting? If you're not measuring it, you're not improving it. If you're not tracking it, you're not growing it. You're just guessing. And in this life, guesswork won't take you anywhere. You need to see it. You need to feel it. You need to know where you stand. Clearly, honestly, and unapologetically. Tracking your progress every night isn't about keeping score. It's about keeping promises, the ones you made to yourself, the ones you swore mattered, the ones you keep breaking without even realizing it. And the reason most people don't want to track anything is because they already know they're falling short. But let me tell you, the longer you avoid looking, the harder it gets to believe in yourself. Belief comes from evidence, real, undeniable, personal evidence. You do something hard, you track it. You see the result, you trust yourself a little more. And over time, that trust becomes confidence. That confidence becomes belief. And that belief becomes power. That's how it works. There's no shortcut. And it's simple. You don't need an app. You don't need a journal with gold pages. You just need 5 minutes and the courage to be real. Write it down. What did I do well today? What did I avoid? Where did I show up strong? Where did I get weak? And let comfort win. When you write it, you face it. And when you face it, you own it. And when you own it, you can change it. That's the process. Look, no one is perfect. You're going to mess up. You're going to fall short. You're going to slip. That's normal. But the difference between the people who grow and the people who stay stuck is who admits it, who faces it, who learns from it, and who ignores it. And every single night, you choose not to look at yourself. You fall further from the version of you that you say you want to. You say you want to succeed, then start acting like someone who deserves success. You say you want freedom, then start holding yourself to the standard that freedom requires. You say you want to believe in yourself, then give yourself something to believe in. The hardest part about this process isn't writing it down. It's staying honest when the truth doesn't feel good. It's looking at a day that didn't go well and saying, that's on me. No excuses, no blaming, just ownership. Because ownership is where the shift begins. That's the line between victims and leaders, between talkers and doers, between dreamers and achievers. So track your progress, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because those are the days you learn the most. Those are the days you grow. Anyone can celebrate the wins. That's easy, but it takes a warrior to examine the losses, to analyze the gaps, to ask, what needs to change? That's how you separate yourself from the rest of the world. You don't lie to yourself. You don't pad the numbers. You don't hide behind false progress. You tell the truth. You document, you use it, and you get better. And I'm going to be real with you. If you're not doing this, if you're not tracking your daily performance, then don't expect real results. Don't expect massive breakthroughs. Don't expect belief to magically appear. It won't, because belief is earned in the small, unglamorous, brutally honest moments, like this one. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, did I live like someone who wants change? Did I spend my time like someone who respects it? Did I fight for my goals, or did I give in to comfort? Did I take even one step toward the life I say I want? Write it down every night, because that habit alone, that 5 minutes of raw, honest reflection, can change the entire direction of your life. It builds discipline. It builds character. It builds clarity. And most of all, it builds belief. The kind of belief that can't be shaken by failure. The kind of belief that fuels you through hard days. The kind of belief that makes you unstoppable. So don't go to bed like everyone else. Don't end your day on autopilot. End it with purpose. End it with self-respect. End it with the truth. And then wake up with a plan to be better. Because that's what greatness is made of. Track your progress every night and watch how quickly your life begins to shift. Number 6, say no to distractions that break your focus. You're not broke, you're just distracted. And that distraction is the invisible force stealing your focus, your potential, and your belief in yourself. Every single day, you wake up with power inside you. The power to move forward, to create something better, to become someone stronger. But that power never makes it past your morning, because it gets swallowed by distractions. Not because you're weak, not because you're unmotivated, but because you haven't learned how to protect your focus. And until you do, nothing in your life will change, no matter how bad you want it. Right now, you live in a world that's designed to steal your attention. You're being pulled in 1,000 directions before you've even had your first thought in the morning. Your phone is lighting up, notifications are buzzing, algorithms are battling for your mind. Everyone is asking for something, and if you don't fight back, your focus gets hijacked. Before you even leave your bed, you can't do anything great when your mind is scattered. You can't reach your full potential if your brain is constantly switching lane. And you definitely can't believe in yourself if you keep letting distractions interrupt everything that matters. Let me be clear. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you say no to your future. That's the trade-off. You're not just losing minutes, you're losing momentum. You're teaching your brain that anything can pull you off track. And over time, that becomes your identity. You stop trusting yourself. You start hesitating. You avoid deep work. You get stuck in surface-level tasks that feel productive, but go nowhere. And I get it. Distraction feels easier. It's comfortable. It's entertaining. It gives you a quick hit of dopamine that makes you forget what you were actually supposed to be doing. But here's the truth. What's comfortable in the short term always costs you in the long term. You have goals. You have dreams. You have something inside you that wants more. But if you keep feeding that craving for distraction, you starve the part of you that creates, the part that builds, the part that changes everything. Focus is not just about getting things done. It's about taking control of your life, because the world is never going to stop pulling at you. The noise is never going to stop. The demands will always be there. So if you don't draw the line, no one else will. You have to start saying no. Not once, not occasionally, daily. To the apps that keep dragging you into comparison. To the news that floods your mind with anxiety. To the messages that can wait. To the open tabs that keep multiplying. To the endless consumption that keeps you passive and numb. You've got to create space, real space, for your mind to think, to build, to move. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Start small. Turn off every notification that doesn't serve your purpose. Set boundaries around your time. Block out hours where your phone is off and your energy is on. Give yourself the environment that actually supports your focus, not destroys it. And don't wait until it feels easy, because it won't. Your brain is used to chaos. It's been trained to switch tasks every 5 minutes. You've been conditioned to react, not reflect. And rewiring that takes effort. But if you care about your future, you'll do it anyway. You'll stop checking messages while you work. You'll stop opening new tabs the second something gets hard. You'll stop living on autopilot, because that version of you, the distracted one, is not going to build the life you want. Only the focused version will. And let me tell you, when you start protecting your focus, you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Clarity. You'll sit down and your mind won't be buzzing. You'll actually be able to go deep into your work. You'll stop chasing motivation because you'll be making progress. And that progress will give you energy. It will give you belief. And that belief will become your fuel. Because focus is freedom. When you can sit down and give one thing your full attention, you don't just do better work. You become better. You grow faster. You understand yourself more deeply. You stop living in the shallow end of your potential, and you start going deep. That's where the breakthroughs happen. It's not about being perfect. It's not about cutting out all distractions forever. It's about taking control. It's about recognizing that every time you choose focus, you build power. And every time you give in to distraction, you give some of that power away. You have to decide, what do you want more? Comfort or clarity? Distraction or direction? Dopamine or discipline? Because you can't have both. Not at the same time. And I'll be honest, most people will never make this shift. They'll stay addicted to the noise. They'll blame the world. They'll say they don't have time, but they had time. They just gave it away to things that didn't matter. But that doesn't have to be your story. You can break the pattern. You can reclaim your attention. You can choose focus not once, but over and over again, until it becomes your default setting. The moment you do, everything changes. You stop living reactively. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You take your time back. Your mind becomes sharper. Your confidence returns, and you finally start seeing results that match your effort. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And it starts with one decision: to say no. No to distraction. No to noise. No to everything that pulls you away from who you're trying to become. Because the life you want, the one you keep imagining, it's not waiting for you in the next notification. It's waiting for you on the other side of deep, focused work. Work that matters. Work that requires your full attention. Work that no one else can do but you. So protect your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. And every time the world tries to pull you off track, remember this: you've got something more important to build. Say no. Shut it off. Lock in. And go all in on the only thing that truly creates change: your full attention. Now go do what you said you would do. Stay focused. And don't look back. Number 7. Commit to one goal and chase it every day. You are not tired. You are just scattered. And the reason you feel like you're stuck in life is because you're chasing too many things at once and finishing none of them. You think you need more strategies. You think you need more motivation. You think you need more time. But what you really need is a decision. One decision to commit to one goal, one path, and give it everything you've got. Not for a day, not for a week, but every single day until it's done. Because here's the truth. Chasing too many things is the fastest way to destroy your confidence. It feels productive. It feels exciting. But all it really does is scatter your energy, divide your focus, and leave you empty. It's like pouring water into 5 different glasses and wondering why none of them are full. You can't build power if your attention is split. You can't build belief if your progress is invisible. And you can't build momentum if you keep starting over. That's why your dreams feel so far away. It's not that you're not capable. It's that you haven't made the internal shift from interest to obsession, from trying things to finishing things, from chasing 10 outcomes to mastering one. And I get it. We live in a world that's obsessed with options, 100 passions, 1,000 side hustles, always exploring, always sampling, always jumping. But the people who win in life, the ones who actually make it, they do one thing differently. They commit. They stop window shopping with their potential. They stop flirting with progress. They pick their goal, and they go to war with it every single day. Because commitment is the birthplace of belief. When you decide to go all in on one goal, you send a signal to your brain. This matters, and that signal changes everything. You begin to think differently. You begin to move differently. You begin to treat your time with urgency, your habits with respect, and your decisions with purpose. It sharpens your mind. It cuts through distractions. It gives you a reason to say no to the noise. And suddenly, your energy multiplies. You're not wasting hours questioning what to do next. You already know. You wake up with a plan. You move with direction. And that daily progress, even if it's small, starts to build something most people never get to feel. Momentum. And let me tell you something. Momentum is magic. It makes you unstoppable. When you see progress, you build belief. When you build belief, you take bigger action. And that cycle compounds. Not over months, but over days. But it doesn't start with motivation. It starts at clarity. And clarity only comes when you commit to one thing. So let me ask you, what's your one thing? Not 5, not 3, just one. What's the one goal that would move your life forward in a way nothing else can? What's the one goal that if you committed to it fully, would make everything else easier? Or even irrelevant? Maybe it's building your business. Maybe it's fixing your health. Maybe it's becoming financially independent. Maybe it's learning a skill you've been avoiding for years. You already know what it is. The real question is, why haven't you committed to it? I'll tell you why. Because it's easier to dabble. It's easier to start something new than to finish something hard. It's easier to be interested than invested. And it's easier to say, I'm exploring, than to admit you're afraid to choose. But here's what no one tells you. Freedom doesn't come from keeping your options open. It comes from closing the wrong doors so you can finally walk through the right one. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you have on things that don't matter. You don't need more passion. You need to stop numbing your life with distraction and start fueling it with purpose. And you don't need more motivation. You need to decide what matters. Decide what you're building. Decide what you're willing to suffer for. Because yes, it's going to be hard. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to be tempted to quit. But every time you stay with it, every time you refuse to break your commitment, you become stronger. You become sharper. You become different. You stop being the version of yourself who starts a lot and finishes nothing. And you become the version who follows through, who delivers, who rises. And when that becomes your identity, belief is no longer something you hope for. It becomes something you own. You have no idea how powerful you become when you stop scattering your life. When you stop feeding your distractions and start feeding your vision. When you wake up every single day and take even one step toward that one goal. Not perfect, not pretty, just progress. You don't need to do everything today, but you need to do something, and you need to do it every day. Because consistency is what separates those who wish from those who win. And discipline is the bridge between your dream and your reality. And commitment is the fire that lights it. So here's what I want you to do right now. Decide your one goal. Write it down. Make it specific. Make it non-negotiable. Then build your day around it. Wake up thinking about it. Go to sleep, measuring it. Let it direct your choices. Let it shape your behavior. Let it own your calendar. And chase it. Relentlessly. Relentlessly means no excuses. It means no negotiation. It means no I'll get back to it next week. It means now. It means again. It means daily. And don't wait for someone to hold you accountable. You hold yourself accountable. You set the standard. You raise the bar. You decide that this is who I am now. Because if you want to live a different life, you have to become a different person. Not someday. Now, there are two types of people in this world. The ones who try and the ones who decide. The ones who talk about changing, and the ones who wake up and chase one goal until it's real. Be the second one. Because your time is running. Your chances are not unlimited. And if you don't commit now, you'll look up a year from now and wonder where it all went. But if you do, if you commit fully to one goal and chase it every day, you won't just reach it. You'll become unrecognizable. Now go. Decide your one goal, burn the distractions, build the discipline, and prove to yourself that you are no longer the person who starts and stops. You are the person who finishes, who follows through, who wins. This is the moment where everything can change if you let it. Number 8. Turn off your phone when working on priorities. You will never build the life you want if your phone is in control of your mind. Most people are not failing because they lack potential. They're failing because they're constantly interrupted. Every time you try to focus, every time you sit down to make progress, that screen in your pocket hijacks your attention. A message, a notification, a pop-up, an urge to scroll. 1 minute becomes 5. 5 becomes 30. And suddenly the energy you needed to create something meaningful is gone. We live in a world that rewards distraction and punishes deep focus. But success, real, lasting success, only comes from full attention. Not multitasking, not checking your phone every 5 minutes, not half working while half scrolling. That scattered mind is why your work feels empty. That split attention is why you don't feel proud of what you're building. Because you're not really building anything. You're just touching everything without finishing anything. It's not your phone. It's how you use it. And most people won't admit that it's a problem. They'll say it helps them stay connected. They'll say they need it for quick breaks. But those breaks become habit. Those habits become patterns. And those patterns become your identity. And now, without even realizing it, you've become someone who can't sit still. Someone who can't think deeply. Someone who can't finish what they start. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. You need a quiet mind. You need uninterrupted blocks of attention, where your brain can go deep without checking the clock, without grabbing your phone, without bounce one tab to the next. You know how it feels when you're trying to get something done. And that notification sound hits, your brain instantly shifts. Even if you don't answer it, it's already too late. Your flow is broken. Your focus is gone. Your train of thought derails. And now you're frustrated. You're scattered. You're mentally tired and you don't even know why. That's not just frustrating. That's dangerous. Because it creates a life of surface level effort and surface level results. You're capable of more. You know that. But you will never reach it if you keep interrupting yourself every time the siren lights up. And no, turning your phone to silent isn't enough. Putting it face down isn't enough. You have to turn it off. Physically remove it from your space when you're doing something that matters. That's not extreme, that's necessary. Because your most valuable asset is not your money. It's not your knowledge. It's not your skills. It's your attention. And right now, the most powerful companies in the world are fighting to control it. They are spending billions. Yes, billions to keep you glued to that screen. Not because they care about you, but because your attention is their product. And the longer you stay distracted, the easier you are to control. So if you want to reclaim your power, if you want to become someone who actually follows through, someone who produces instead of consumes, someone who builds instead of scrolls, then you need to shut it off. Turn the phone off when it's time to work. Not mute, not do not disturb, out of reach, out of sight. It will feel uncomfortable. That's how addicted you've become. You'll feel anxious. You'll feel the urge to check. You'll feel like something's missing. But sit with that. Don't run from it. Train your mind to sit still. Because once your brain stops expecting a distraction, it starts learning how to think again, how to focus, how to go deep. And that's when everything changes. You start finishing things. You stop procrastinating. You start creating work that matters. You feel proud of your progress again. You stop needing motivation because momentum takes over. You move faster, think clearer, and feel more in control. You stop surviving your day and start owning it. That's the power of undivided focus. And most people will never experience it because they're too scared to turn off the noise. But you don't have to be most people. You can make the decision today to take your time back, to protect your priorities, to build a mind that actually works for you, not against you. Here's what to do before your next task, before your next deep session, before your next important goal. Turn your phone off, not down, not silent, off. Put it in another room, set a timer. Start with 30 minutes. Work on one thing, just one. No checking, no switching. Just work, just think, just do. You'll be shocked at what you can do in 33 minutes when your brain isn't being interrupted every 60 seconds. You'll be shocked at how much progress you can make in a single focused hour. And once you see that power, you'll never want to go back. Because this is about more than just productivity. It's about who you're becoming. You're not just building habits, you're building belief. And belief comes from action, from doing hard things consistently, from refusing to live like the rest of the world, from saying I'm done being average, I'm done being distracted, I'm done wasting my potential. You have no idea what's possible when you give your full mind to one thing at a time. You have no idea what you can create when you stop handing your attention away like it doesn't matter. You have no idea how much faster you could reach your goals if you just protected your focus. That's not hype, that's the truth. And maybe you've tried before. Maybe you've said, I'm gonna focus more, or I'll put my phone down, but changed. And that's because you didn't go far enough. You didn't shut the door completely. You left a crack open. Distraction always finds its way through cracks. So close it. Shut it all off. Step into full control and watch your productivity explode. Watch your belief multiply. Watch your time come back. Watch your life start moving again. This is your moment to change. Don't let another week pass where your phone wins and your priorities lose. Turn it off. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now. You don't need more time. You need more focus. And focus starts the moment you choose to silence the noise for good. Number 9. Finish what you start even when it gets hard. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop quitting every time it gets uncomfortable. Most people never fail because they're not capable. They fail because they stop. They walk away the second it gets hard. They convince themselves it wasn't the right time, or maybe it wasn't meant for them, or they'll try again later. But the truth is, they didn't need a better plan. They needed more grit. Because if you want to win at anything in life, you have to make this decision. I will finish what I start, especially when it gets hard. Think about how many times you've started something full of energy, full of fire, full of belief, and then dropped it. Not because it wasn't working, not because it wasn't right, but because you didn't feel like it anymore. Because it got messy. Because it took longer than you expected. Because progress was slower than you thought it would be. And instead of pushing through, you paused. And that pause turned into a week, then a month, then it just disappeared. And what did that do to you? It didn't just slow your progress. It shattered your source trust. You told yourself you'd follow through. You told yourself this time would be different. And when you stopped, even quietly, even without anyone noticing, you felt that shame, that disappointment, that silent voice in the back of your head that whispered, here we go again. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can train yourself to finish. You can become the kind of person who sees things through. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, but when it's necessary. Because it is. That follow-through muscle, that willingness to push through resistance, that's what separates average lives from powerful ones. And here's what nobody tells you. Finishing what you start is the only way to build real belief in yourself. Not reading another book, not watching another motivational video. Finishing, that's where the confidence comes from. That's where identity is built. That's when you stop needing external validation. Because your proof is in your actions. You did it. You followed through. You fought through the resistance. And you came out stronger. Look, it's easy to commit to something when you feel excited. It's easy to chase your goals when everything is going well. But that moment, that exact moment when things get hard, when nothing is working, when you want to quit and no one would blame you, that's the defining moment. That's where the shift happened. That's where most people stop. And a few people decide to keep going anyway. Those few, they're the ones who win. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel excited. You don't even need to feel inspired. You just need to do the thing. Whether that's writing the next page, making the next call, sticking to your plan, getting back to your workout, or pushing through that difficult phase in your relationship or your business. Do it anyway. This is what most people don't understand. The emotional high is not supposed to last. You're not going to wake up every day excited to grind. You're not going to always feel like pushing. That's not weakness. That's reality. But you don't need to feel strong to act strong. You just need to keep moving. And here's where it gets real. If you keep quitting when it gets hard, it's not the situation that's stopping you. It's you. It's your relationship with discomfort. You haven't taught yourself how to stay in the fire long enough to see the reward on the other side. And that's a skill, just like anything else. You want to finish more things? Stop giving yourself exit doors. Stop negotiating with difficulty. Stop telling yourself, if it doesn't feel right, I'll step back. No. If you started it, you finish it. That doesn't mean you ignore your values or stay stuck in something toxic. But if it's a goal you set, a mission you believe in, a version of you that you're trying to become, then quitting is not an option. You've already wasted enough time starting over. You've already lived through the regret of walking away. And you already know what that feels like. What you don't know, what most people never experience, is the power of following through when every part of you wants to stop. That's where your next level is. That's the version of you that's buried underneath the excuses, the hesitation, the fear. And every time you push through the resistance, you chip away at that layer. You move closer to the person you were meant to be. Not the one who talks about change, the one who lives it. This is how you change your story. Not in one massive leap, not by overhauling your whole life overnight, but by doing the one thing you promised yourself you'd do, even when it's boring, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's exhausting. Because on the other side of that is self-respect, not the kind you perform on social media, the kind you feel when no one's watching, the kind that says, I said I would, and I did. That's how you build a powerful life. That's how you build a foundation that doesn't fall apart when pressure hits. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the most gifted. You just have to be the most committed. The one who doesn't break their word to themselves. The one who doesn't disappear when things get uncomfortable. The one who sticks with it when others tap out. That's who you need to become. And it starts now. Think of one thing you've started and haven't finished. Maybe it's your health, your finances, your relationship, a habit you said you'd master, a business you said you'd build. Whatever it is, go back to it, pick it up, recommit, no emotion, no drama, just discipline, just movement, just action, and then stay with it. Not until it feels hard, until it's done. Because when you start finishing things, your entire psychology shifts. You stop looking for the exit. You stop needing constant external motivation. You become your own proof. You become your own reason. And that's the most powerful place a person can live from. So the next time it gets hard, and it will, don't fold. Double down. Finish what you start, because that's where the growth is. That's where the transformation lives. And that's what turns you into someone who doesn't just dream big, but delivers bigger. You know what quitting feels like? You've lived it. Now find out what finishing feels like, and never look back. Push yourself to act, even when you feel lazy. Laziness is the enemy standing between you and everything you want. And the moment you push through it, you change your entire life. Every day, your mind whispers reasons not to act. It tells you to wait until tomorrow, to take a break, to rest just a little longer. It promises comfort, safety, and an easier path. But what it really does is steal your future while you're sitting still. That voice is powerful because it taps into a deep human truth. Your brain wants to conserve energy, avoid discomfort, and stay safe. It doesn't want you to risk failure or struggle. It wants you to play it small. But you're not here to play it small. You have dreams, goals, and a vision that require you to get uncomfortable, to fight the urge to do nothing, to move when every part of your body and mind wants to stop. Because here's the real secret. Success, growth, and transformation don't come from waiting for motivation or perfect conditions. They come from action. Action taken, even when you don't feel like it. Think about the last time you felt lazy. Maybe it was this morning, this afternoon, or just yesterday. What was your body telling you? What excuses were swirling through your mind? Maybe you told yourself, I'm too tired, or I need a break, or I'll start later. And what happened? You stayed still. You delayed. You lost momentum. That delay isn't harmless. It compounds. Every choice to rest instead of act adds up to lost days, weeks, and months. It builds a habit of avoidance that is incredibly hard to break. And before you know it, laziness is no longer a moment. It becomes a lifestyle. But here's what no one tells you. The feeling of laziness is a liar. It's a false signal. Your body and mind are designed to resist change because change is uncomfortable. But they do not know what's best for your future, only for your past. Laziness is a signal of fear disguised as comfort. And if you can learn to push through that signal, to act even when you feel lazy, you will unlock a power few ever experience. Because action breaks the spell. Action creates energy. Action builds momentum. And momentum is the force that propels you to your goals, even when motivation disappears. You don't have to wait for motivation to show up. Motivation is unreliable. It's like the weather, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy. But action is your umbrella. It protects you. It keeps you moving. It's consistent. And pushing yourself to act is not about huge leaps. It's about small steps taken consistently. Maybe it's putting on your workout shoes even if you don't feel like running. Maybe it's writing one paragraph on a project, even if your brain wants to scroll social media. Maybe it's making a phone call even if you're exhausted. The key is to start, to move the first inch when your body wants to stay still. Remember, the hardest part is often just starting. Once you move even a little, your mind shifts. The resistance lessens. The energy follows. That's why the phrase, just do it, is so powerful, because doing is the antidote to laziness. And don't mistake this for pushing through burnout or ignoring your body's needs. This is about distinguishing between true rest and the trap of avoidance disguised as rest. True rest rejuvenates. Laziness drains. Learn to tell the difference. Rest intentionally. Act intentionally. Here's what happens when you choose action over laziness consistently. Your self-trust grows. You begin to believe in yourself because you see evidence. You are no longer a bystander in your own life. You become a creator, a doer, a mover, and that belief fuels even more action. It's a positive cycle that changes who you are. But when you let laziness win, your self-trust shrinks. You start doubting your own ability to show up. You feel powerless. You feel stuck. And that feeling keeps you locked in a cycle of inactivity that's hard to escape. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is luck or talent. It's their willingness to act, even when they feel lazy, tired, or overwhelmed. They push forward not because they want to, but because they decide to. Here's a practical way to hack this process. When you feel lazy, commit to action for just 5 minutes. Tell yourself you'll do the task for 5 minutes only. No pressure beyond that. In most cases, once those 5 minutes pass, you'll find yourself wanting to continue. Your body and mind are wired to resist starting, not continuing. This simple trick breaks the paralysis. Another way is to create routines that eliminate decision-making. When you don't have to decide whether or not to act, you remove the hesitation. Set a time for your most important tasks. Make it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. The less you debate it, the more likely you are to follow through. Visualize the person you want to become. The person who acts despite laziness. See them clearly. Feel the pride and power that comes with consistent action. Then realize that this person already exists inside you. You just have to awaken them by pushing through the first moment of resistance. Don't let laziness control your story. You are stronger than that momentary feeling. You are capable of far more than you believe. Every time you push yourself to act despite laziness, you build a muscle that makes the next time easier. That's how habits are born. That's how transformation happens. So the next time your mind offers excuses, challenge it. Remind yourself that action is your only option if you want change. Feel the discomfort of laziness, but refuse to give in. Step forward anyway. This is where real growth begins. Not when everything feels perfect, but when you act anyway. No one will do it for you. No one will believe in your potential as much as you can. It starts here in this moment, with a single choice. Choose action. Choose progress. Choose to push through laziness, even when it feels impossible. Because your dreams deserve more than hesitation. Your future deserves your commitment. And your life deserves your courage. Start now. Push forward and watch how the smallest acts of courage create unstoppable momentum in your life.